Go Balls Fall. You want good words? Data language.
Talk real sports with a real man.
Come after me! I'm a man! I'm 40!
And now, here's the be-all, end-all, know-it-all of high school, college, and pro sports. Aaron Skinny Count with the Skinny on Sports.
We're talking about practice, man. I'm the MVP.
It's a good Lipscomb Dealerships Wednesday out there, Western Oklahoma. Welcome to the Skinny on Sports. Right here on 98.1 FM, the Sports Animal. Glad to have you along for the next hour. Man, we got all kinds of stuff going on in the world of sports. We have implored people, Jarrett, for what, a week? Plus, every year the show's been on, to watch the Stanley Cup Finals. We've implored you to do it. Hopefully you have, even if you didn't know anything about hockey. Hopefully you have started watching it, and hopefully you're watching it right now, because this is one of the craziest, most entertaining, most thrilling Stanley Cup Finals that there have been in a long, long time.
Like,
now,
even if you think to yourself, well, I don't watch hockey all year long. It's not fair for me to watch it. No, that's okay. No one's judging you.
Hockey fans aren't soccer fans.
Exactly. Nobody's judging. We don't watch hockey all year round. You know why? Because we're watching NBA. It's at the same time. But
and I don't really have a hockey. I used to sort of have a hockey team. We don't really
have a team to root for.
It used to be the Stars. I know you've liked Edmonton because of the affiliation with Oklahoma City.
When the Barons were here, I kind of got hooked on Edmonton. I mean, I would call me a very, very, very loose novice fan of Edmonton. I like Connor McDavid and all that. But that's what I'm saying is, if you like sports and you like to be entertained, and it's really cool when you don't have a team in the mix, it is fun as hell to watch this hockey.
Last night, turned out it was a 2-goal game, and that's just because
last night was boring.
That's just because empty net goal went in with like 37 seconds left after the game tire just went over the bar on that face-off to the right of Carolina's goalkeeper. But it's 2-2. There are some fascinating numbers, and they all kind of lend toward how entertaining it's been and why you should watch it, because I know there's people out there going, oh, yeah, you see one goal a night. Not in this one. There's lots of numbers about the first 4 games of this series that are record-breaking as far as the Stanley Cup Finals. So we got that.
But even if you see one goal a night, you're seeing a fast-paced sport that could change on a dime.
Oh, yeah, it's crazy. I mean,
And that's what the one goal a night is kind of fun for me, because if it's 1-0 and then they pull their goalie and it's just wild, crazy hockey for like 60 seconds.
Yeah, I think it's been awesome. A lot of times if somebody's had 2-0 in one of these games, it's over. That has not been the case in this series.
In this one. No.
Not even close. No. So we'll talk a little bit about that at the end of the show, give you those numbers. We didn't really hear Jared's thoughts on the Brendan Sorsby stuff, as more has come out, specifically kind of from Texas Tech in their support of him. People are trying to compare all kinds of different situations from the past, and mostly Texas Tech fans trying to make themselves feel better about wanting to play. And like I said yesterday, there's no fan base in America that wouldn't be doing what Texas Tech fans are doing right now, because they want him to play, because they think he gives you a great chance to win.
If this was in Austin, Norman, Stillwater,
doesn't matter. Everybody,
all the reaction would be the same.
Is there, though, a comparable situation? I know there's comparisons being thrown out there. And whose job is it to fix this? If you believe that he shouldn't play, or you believe that there's some kind of injustice going on here, whose job is it to really fix that? We'll talk about NBA Finals Game 4 tonight. Who's the pressure on? Victor Wembanyama's face push of Jalen Brunson was not upgraded to a flagrant 1. Do you have a problem with that? Did you really think the NBA was going to upgrade it? There's a little bit of misconception out there online about what an upgrade would have been. A lot of people think he would have got suspended. That's not necessarily true, depending on what they upgraded it to. We'll tell you, if you don't know what that is, we'll kind of explain that. What changed in Game 3 for the Spurs? What has to go back to the way it was in the first two for New York tonight? And then what % chance do you give tonight's winner of winning the series? And then, listen, this is going to be the most soccer we've ever talked about in one sitting on this show. The World Cup, which is, I mean, I think no matter what you think about soccer here in the United States, I think it's very, very, very fair to say the World Cup is the biggest sporting event in the world. Every fourth year.
I'd agree with that.
It just is. And so my question is for everybody listening, how much do you care? Do you want it? I mean, I guess I'm saying, do you want us to talk about the World Cup like daily? Like, are we going to have to watch these matches and then tell you what we thought about them? You know what I'm saying? Like, because it is a gigantic event and it is happening right here in the great old U.S. of A. Now, for us, you and I, should we get invested in this tournament? Why or why not? Will you get invested in Team USA no matter what? Or will that investment grow, like if they start winning some games? Have you ever had much interest in the World Cup? And if so, have you sort of gravitated towards a certain team outside of the U.S.? Make sense?
Yeah.
Is there like a foreign country you're like, I kind of like them?
There's one that I was.
And then if I gave you a ticket, would you go? 225-9698 is the phone or the text line. That is 225-9698. Give us a call, shoot us a text. We can talk about any of those things. Whatever else might be on your mind, feel free to chime right in at 225-9698. If you're going to be outside the listening area, a couple ways to stay in touch with the show. You can log on to KADSAM.com, or you can download the app. Paragon app's got it all. Radio, Penny News, brand new edition of the Penny News. Hit the website last night at midnight, so you can check out the deals right now. Online at thepennynews.com. Playitlive.net. Running out of chances to watch that over the summer. But all the action from the five plexes, softball, baseball, and then, of course, at Ackley Park as well. Playitlive.net. You can check that out if you can't make it out to your kids' or grandkids' games. It's right there on your computer screen. And, of course, the Skinny on Sports podcast is available anywhere podcasts are dropping. How are you today, Jared?
I'm good. Real good. How are you?
Just fine. It's going to be hot.
Yeah.
Hot today. Hot.
Oh, well. At least it's windy. Yesterday, it was hot. We had a little girl practice yesterday, and it was, at least the wind actually kind of felt good. It wasn't like a hot wind that we will get in July, you know?
Interesting. It was where I was.
It was hot?
Down the left field line at Ackley Park in the shade. Maybe it's because the shade cooled us off, but then that wind blowing made it worse.
Or maybe because I was a little glistened with sweat.
Yeah.
And the wind hit me.
And I think that's true because where we were, it wasn't that bad because we were in the shade, but we weren't necessarily sweating for the wind to cool you down. Just sitting there.
Was it blowing off the field from where you were sitting?
No.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. Sure.
You could feel that.
No, it was more from the stands, like right down the line. And that helped. Certainly helped.
Yeah.
If it had been more out of the east.
When the clouds built up around, 5:45, 6 o'clock, that definitely helps.
No doubt. No doubt about it. Chances of rain tonight.
Yeah, chances of rain are going up, aren't they?
Yeah.
Throughout the rest of the week.
I think is tomorrow evening when the front's supposed to move through.
We got a 50% chance.
Tomorrow evening.
Tomorrow night, yeah.
Yeah, I think that's when, because I think tomorrow, both days are going to be hot. And then sometime tomorrow is when the front comes through. And it's actually, Saturday's clear back to the night.
Then there's a 60% chance on Saturday night.
Yeah, maybe that's when the real good front comes through.
And pretty much all day Sunday.
Because you're looking at 80s to start the week next week. Sunny and hot, 98 on Saturday. And then down to, what was Sunday? 89 and then shoot 82 on Monday. It's going to be nice next week, or at least the first of next week so that we can see. Mm-hmm. All right, tomorrow, down in Mexico City, the World Cup kicks off. And I know that soccer has been a little bit of a running joke on the show for a while now, especially when Scott's here on Fridays.
Because the U.S. men's national team has been a running joke.
They have.
And they've been easy targets.
Easy target. They've been they didn't even make the World Cup last time, right?
No.
And I'm not 100% sure they'd have made it this time if it wasn't they weren't hosting, which gives an automatic bid. Now, I like what they did there with the North America, so that Canada, Mexico, and the U.S. all get free passes into the World Cup. Right. Nice thinking there by the powers that be. But my question is this: there's whether or not you like soccer or not. And you can despise soccer all you want to. But the truth of the matter is this is one of, if not the very biggest sporting event worldwide.
Oh, sure. Absolutely it is.
And
I mean, it's bigger than the Olympics.
I think so, too.
In my opinion.
I think so, too. And so as much as I would like to ignore it, I don't think that we would be doing our listeners justice by ignoring it if some of you out there have a real affinity for soccer. So that I guess that was my question. Like how much World Cup are you guys wanting to hear about? 225-9698. I mean, if there's none, then I guess we can ignore it until Fridays.
We will get more immersed with it when it starts and when we start seeing results and some storylines start to come out. Obviously, how the U.S. do. We're going to pay attention to it. It is, like you said, the biggest sporting event in the world. I don't necessarily despise soccer like some people think I do. I actually played it all the way up until it started to interfere with what I wanted to do in baseball. So I gave up soccer to play baseball when I was like in junior high. So I respect the game. It is the world's game. I mean, the whole world outside the U.S. absolutely loves soccer, but it's not something I'm stopping my channel surfing at to watch soccer. Now I will have it on the World Cup. It will be background banter, and then when the U.S. playing, I definitely will pay attention and watch it. And will I watch the final? When is the final? That is, you know what? I'll watch the final.
Sometime in July, I'm sure.
Yeah, and I've always watched the final. They've given us some great games, some great moments, and all of that. Now, don't ask me about player names. Don't ask me what club they play for in Europe. I'm not that into it. Now, I have some friends that are. Scotty probably is. So if you're going to ask us to break down games and stuff and like we can in the NBA or even Major League Baseball and other football, well, sorry, you're not going to get that from me.
So I was the same way. I played soccer till like 14, under 14s maybe, something like that. I mean, I was on multiple state championship winning teams in the summertime. A couple of runners-up. I mean, I played. I mean, a lot of kids played soccer growing up, and they got old enough to play baseball.
Yeah, I will credit soccer. Yeah, I saw what you did there.
Yeah,
and that is true in my case.
Mm-hmm.
I will credit soccer. Yes, I played it when it was like one of the very, very first organized sports that I played.
Well, sure.
I played for the First National Bank team over in Clinton. Coach Carpenter was my coach. I remember the guys I played with. I think even our man Jeremy Gray was on that team with me at one point.
I played
Chance
soccer
Cruzen
with Jeremy, I'm pretty sure, too.
Yeah, and
Here's a guy that did not play soccer.
Who's that?
J-Mac. I don't. He might have played as a kid. He says he's got 0.0.
I will give soccer credit for. I remember I was so conditioned And to the point, I thought I should have ran cross country after I quit soccer because they run. There's a stat I'm sure out there how many miles they actually run on average in a game. But I mean, I will give soccer credit for that, and the patience it takes to play soccer. Because it's kind of like hockey, it could be a 1-0 game or 2-1, something like that. But
the Poto Monsoons.
Poto Monsoon. That's a cool name.
So, I mean, here's the deal. I will watch the USA. Guaranteed. Guaranteed that I will watch.
Yeah.
Maybe not sit down and watch the whole matches, but I will watch the USA just because it's one of those, I don't know, it's a international competition, and I want the USA to win. But Dakota hit it dead on the head. He said, I love the World Cup. I'm tired of the USA being ace. And he's right.
Totally agree.
And I think that
tired of being embarrassed, right?
Just not being any good.
Just be a little bit competitive.
Sometimes, I mean, I don't think anybody, well, there are probably some, but I think a majority of the American sports viewing public isn't necessarily thinking that the USA should win the World Cup every time it's played. Because I think a lot of people just, sort of seed that, hey, soccer isn't our game. It's the world game. They're, the people, it's just the way it is.
Us Americans, us ugly Americans, will always counter with, well, give us your best football team, and we'll always beat you in football.
Yeah. It used to be basketball. It's sort of maybe changing a little bit.
In baseball.
In baseball, obviously. And so I think that the American sports viewing public views this as sort of an Olympics because it's every 4 years. And you don't have to win anything, but first off, make the tournament like every time. Should be an absolute baseline. And then make it out of the knockout. Make it into the knockout round. And then from there, win, every now and then maybe make a quarterfinal run. Semifinal, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like every 3 or 4 World Cups.
So,
and that hasn't happened. When's the last time we won a game in the knockout? 2010?
Well,
Landon Donovan goal?
Looked it up. 2010, they made the round of 16. Their best finish this century was 2002. They got to the quarterfinals.
They got to the quarters. That's right.
It was 2018, the Russian World Cup. They did not qualify. They qualified for the Qatar.
Oh, that's right. I forgot it.
They got to the round of 16.
That's right. They made it out of the group.
So that was like the most recent stuff. Then 94, the last time USA hosted World Cup games.
And made it out of the
round of 16. Round of 16 is pretty much the ceiling for U.S. men's soccer.
It has been. That's why everybody remembers, what did you say, 2010? The last time we won one?
2002, they got to the quarters.
Is the only quarters?
Only quarters. Since 1990.
Was that clear back to Landon? Or maybe Landon Donovan?
Landon Donovan
he scored the goal to get out of it.
2010, right?
He scored the goal to get out of the group.
Am I right about that? 2010?
Surely Landon Donovan.
I remember where I was. They played when did they play England and they had kind of that that goal that went through the goalkeeper's legs.
I don't.
And they kind of used that as a magical little run. But it's still only round of 16.
But they still didn't win so they won the last group game with him scoring that late goal and then lost. Did they lose to Belgium?
Probably.
In that
it
next
doesn't
game?
say. It just says they're finished. I looked up their.
Or was that the Korea? Was that the South Korea one? Or Japan? Where was that one at? 2010.
2010 was South Africa.
South Africa. So 2002 is the last time they won a match. I think they played in the finals in like 1950 or something like that.
Something like that, way back.
And so, and here's the problem with those results. That's not going to fire up a bunch of arrogant American sports fans that think, we're not watching that because we're no good at it.
It's human nature in America. If you're not winning, and look at any sport, any major sport. If you're not winning, people aren't showing up.
Very rarely.
People aren't. You got some that are like your Cubbies. It doesn't matter when
Very
or lose.
that's right.
You know, there's tradition.
Lots
there.
of losing going on right now.
You know, like Red
even
Sox,
lost to the Rockies last night.
or even the Dallas Cowboys. They could be losing, but they'll fill up their stadium maybe with their opposing fans.
That's right.
But my point is, if you don't win, you lose interest.
And here's what's crazy to me about it is it's set up to work as far as the World Cup because it happens every 4 years. So people don't have to have their attention on a game that they don't necessarily love constantly. You just have to care every 4 years, and the U.S. still hasn't figured out a way to be any good at it. And I think that I think it's almost, you know what it reminds me of in a totally different way? But like for the last 2 or 3 years, we've seen Oklahoma men's basketball. How many times have they brought somebody into Lloyd Noble? Big time matchup, could be whoever ranked, and they have won basically none of those games.
Right.
And then it's like, phew, all the air goes out of the balloon. That's sort of what U.S. men's soccer has been to me in a lot of ways over the last however many years. But are you invested in them now? Like right now, are you invested like Friday night at 8 o'clock? Are you watching?
I will.
Paraguay in SoFi?
I will because hold on. Friday night.
8 o'clock, right?
Okay, nothing there. Hold on. I'm making sure there's no finals games on.
Stanley Cup will be. I think they play Friday.
No.
No. They play Thursday.
Thursday, and they're off Friday, so there's no NBA
And
finals.
Saturday
no
would be
Stanley
NBA
Cup.
finals.
Okay, so my answer is yes, because nothing else will be on. I won't be at little kid practice. There's no games that I have to attend. I have nothing to do. What's that tell you?
Not invested. Unless they start. But
I'll have it on in the garage while I tinker with something.
But if
I'm not sitting down with a bowl of popcorn and a tall pint of Guinness or whatever soccer fans drink and watching this.
What's the official beer? Here's another problem.
Heineken?
No, I think it's Michelob Ultra.
Of course it is. Yeah, they have the cans. My wife drinks the Ultras, and they have the cans. They look kind of funky. Yeah. No, it's. I'm not smoking a rack of ribs for the World Cup. I'm not.
Okay, no, but here's the question though: if let's say they win the group.
No, yeah, exactly.
Whenever that game is, if like the first round of 16, all of a sudden, are you maybe thinking about a watch party?
I'm putting a scarf on, going ole.
I don't think you want to do that. That's El Tree.
Oh, face painted. I got a bunch of American flags. I'll be flying because that's what we do as Americans. We bandwagon.
Maybe
we jump on. How many Knicks fans are suddenly Knicks fans?
Oh yeah. There's no doubt about it.
How many Vegas Knights fans are suddenly Vegas Knights fans?
We may have we have a candidate for text of the year on the text line that I probably can't read. But I think because I mean I can guarantee you. Oh yeah, this is a good point too. If because there's the possibility of U.S. Iran in the round of 16, that will get the patriotism flowing.
Oh yeah. That'd be like, that'd be like USA versus Russia in the rink.
That's correct.
Yeah,
that'll get people rolling.
Yeah. A good text, Jeremy. I like that.
Yeah, there's no doubt that's correct. If that's the best way. maybe that's the questions that need to be being asked. So, when I say, have you ever had much interest? Is there like a nation from around the world, like when the World Cup comes on, you're like, oh yeah, I'm kind of rooting for them. Growing up, or even now, outside of just the U.S.
I think one year I forget what year it was. Was it the Netherlands? Kind of had a little bit of a run. They were those orange ones.
They made it to the final. I'm pretty sure.
Yeah, that year France, I was kind of. kind of leaning their way for some reason. I can't remember why. Oh, I remember why. My wife's granddad was a descendant from the Netherlands. He could speak the
Dutch.
Thank you. Yeah, and
Dennis Bergkamp.
so was that who was on that team? What was that? I don't know. But probably that was one time.
See,
I'm pretty patriotic. It's hard for me to root for anyone other than America, you know.
I've always found myself gravitating toward Brazil.
Brazil.
The beautiful game they play. Probably because when I was a kid, I watched a bunch of like Pele
Yeah.
or Pele.
He did a lot for soccer. Well, got a lot of people interested in soccer.
And just like everything
And
else,
that's what America needs is somebody
just like
that.
everything else, it never stuck.
Right, but America needs a Pele. You know, America needs a guy that was Landon Donovan
Landon
closest
Donovan
we got.
or Clint Dempsey.
Yeah.
You know what was the young guy?
Freddie
Adu.
They tried.
And it's built about like Pulisic. He's never really kind of taken off, and it's because he hasn't had success. The only reason, I mean, Landon Donovan played soccer forever, but what does he have? He's got success in big time goals in the World Cup. Clint Dempsey is the same way.
Right.
You know, Tony Meola, the keeper of the team back in '94. I've always found myself kind of rooting for Brazil. Hopefully, this year hosting doesn't lead to the tragedy of last time we hosted, when poor Andres Escobar owned gold against us for Colombia, and people down there in Colombia didn't like that enough to where they killed him.
Oh, wow.
Have you not seen that one?
No, I just remember 94, that particular summer was wild.
There's two fantastic
with OJ
30 for 30s
yes.
From that summer. One was the two Escobars, which it mirrors Pablo and Andres Escobar, both Colombian, both known for totally different things. And then, of course, that, June 17th, 1994?
Yeah. That one certain day, like everything was happening in that day, including like the first...
It was the opening match of the World Cup in Chicago.
At Chicago.
Game 5 of the NBA Finals.
Correct.
Ken Griffey Jr. was in the midst of chasing the Roger Maris record. Arnold Palmer was playing his last round of the U.S. Open at his basically home at Oakmont.
And the New York Rangers were celebrating a Stanley Cup
correct
championship.
First one since like 1950.
But all that did not compare.
And then OJ
to what
got in a Bronco.
OJ was doing in a Bronco.
No, that was a wild. That's one of the better. And you know the thing about that 30 for 30?
There's no narrator.
Nobody talks.
It's just news clippings and reports and highlights from games and stuff.
Yes.
Like they wanted to break into the NBA Finals.
They did.
They did to talk. They boxed like they put the NBA Finals in the corner to talk about OJ, or they did it vice versa. I can't remember.
Yeah, I think eventually it got more the Bronco, less the game.
Yeah,
as it went along. Yeah, that's a great one.
It is a great one. Every time
the Escobars is a great one. Also, the only problem is you have to pay total attention because it's all subtitled because everybody is from Colombia.
Yeah,
that's involved in it. If I gave you a ticket, would you go to a game?
Yes, you're giving me a ticket worth thousands of dollars. That's a bucket list sport, though. It's a bucket list event.
Would you go to the game, or would you go and sell the ticket if I gave it to you?
I'm not that hard up for cash. It would be tempting. No, I would go. I would go. Just to say I went, you know.
Would you entertain...
There's a great Kenny Chesney song, Just to Say We Did.
Let's say the U.S. got to, like, the quarterfinals.
Yeah.
Now, let's go even further. Let's really get out there.
Ooh.
Let's say they got to the semifinals, and it was on a weekend. Let's say it's the weekend you're in Vegas. Are you going to hunt out, like, a bar to watch the game? If it fits in your schedule?
Yeah.
If you weren't in Vegas, if you were here in Oklahoma, would you, like, go to Oklahoma City?
No.
And go hang out with the soccer crowd?
That's where I'd smoke my ribs. That's where I'd make it a day. Okay, this is historic because it's been decades since the U.S. have been this far. So yeah, I would definitely pay attention to that. But no, I'm not going to make a special trip to Oklahoma City to a soccer pub to watch the game. Although that would be kind of cool.
Yeah, best we've ever done is third, back in 1930.
Oh my goodness gracious!
In Uruguay,
1930.
I got third on goal differential.
Would you go if you had a ticket to any game?
Yes.
Doesn't have to be USA, just any game.
Oh.
Any game.
Oh.
Say, hey, I got a ticket for down in Arlington. I can't go. Here you go.
Probably.
See, I would. Yeah, I would do that.
I've got a buddy going to Houston that's going to sit in a suite.
Yeah,
I would do that.
I'd sit in a suite for tennis. It's a suite. But, no, I'd go to any game. And again, it's the bucket list approach. It's
I went to the World Cup.
Say I did it. Say, hey, I went to the World Cup. Hey, I went to the Masters. Hey, I've been to this. I've been to that.
Let's not go crazy comparing things like the World Cup and the Masters here.
No, but it's a bucket list thing. Everybody's bucket list is different.
It is. Well, looks like not a lot of.
So at the end of each show, we'll just quickly give you scores and say goodbye.
Here's a one. Break down how the shell the U.S. formed. That's what they call it? I don't know.
I did notice at a local Quick Stop, they're selling USA merch.
Oh, really?
Like pennants and stickers.
Do they have kits?
Huh?
Do they have the kit?
Not that. It's just a little setup. I'm thought about getting a pennant because I do like collecting pennants.
All right, we'll be back on this Lipscomb Wednesday.
Gary Ware here, formerly with Ware Chevrolet in Wheeler, Texas. I've had a lot of folks ask me where they should go to buy a new car or truck now. I'll tell you, Lipscomb Chevrolet GMC in Elk City, Oklahoma. We've known them for years, and they'll go above and beyond to earn your business. Right now, they've got a great opportunities for buyers after a recent hailstorm. They've got slightly dented, pre-owned, and new cars and trucks priced to move. Stop by Lipscomb Chevrolet GMC in Elk City or visit them at lipscombchevroletgmc.com. Together, let's drive.
The Skinny on Sports.
We've come too far. There's too much to lose. We've got to keep our composure.
Welcome back. Lipscomb Wednesday, Skinny on Sports, 98.1 FM, the sports animal. Employee pricing over at Lipscomb Ford in Sayre. Hail sale going on here in Elk City at the Chevy GMC store there by the airport. Also, Chrysler Dodge, Jeep, and Ram out by the interstate. Good people. Great prices. Visit them, Lipscomb. All three locations. The Ford House over in Sayre, and then the two here in Elk City, the Chevy GMC, and also Chrysler Dodge, Jeep, and Ram. Game 4 NBA Finals coming up tonight. Jared, who's the pressure on tonight?
I'm still saying the Spurs. If they lose this game going back down 3-1, I mean, this game's still in MSG. I think the circus isn't as crazy as it was. I mean, obviously President won't be there, so we have your stars and all that. But I think the Knicks settle in, and the likelihood of them getting a split at home is very high. So I think this pressure is still very much on the Spurs to avoid going down 3-1.
See, in a weird way, I thought Game 3, it was on the Knicks because of all the hoopla surrounding them, even though they were up 2-0. I felt like that was a lot, just everything surrounding it. Mm-hmm. A lot was on them. I actually think it's fairly equal tonight. For what you said on the Spurs side of it, you don't want to go down 3-1, even though 2 of the last 3 are on your home floor, and you would assume that they wouldn't lose them all in San Antonio. And they have at least a little bit of confidence of knowing that they won Game 3 at Madison Square Garden. And then, of course, if you're the Knicks, you don't want to go back to San Antonio tied at 2 after you did all that hard work in the first 2 games of this series to take a huge advantage going back home. Nobody's ever done what the Spurs are trying to do. There have been 2-0 comebacks in NBA Finals history, but not losing the first two at home.
Right.
Nobody's ever been able to accomplish that, and maybe that just gets added to the lure of this young team. Right? I think it's fairly equal tonight because I think both teams with a win can sort of feel like they gain control of the series, if that makes sense. Mm-hmm. Do you have a problem with the NBA going back and not upgrading the foul on Wemby to a flagrant one? Whoa, not even the foul, the play.
The play.
Because there wasn't even a foul
called.
Not
even a foul called. That's where I kind of have a problem. There wasn't even a foul called, but I get it. Eyes are elsewhere. You're not looking at it. But I guess my answer would be I would have a problem if it happens again, say the Knicks doing something similar, and then they suddenly call it. Like, well, wait a minute. You just set the precedent even after the fact, way after the fact, going back and able to look at it, slow it down, hyper-focus on it, and you still say that is not a flagrant one. Well, I mean, what if a Knicks player does it to Castle or something, and then they call that a flagrant one or two? I mean, so that's where I guess I'm reserving my judgment. It's like, okay, fine, it's not a flagrant one, but let's make sure it's not a flagrant one for the rest of the series, which is kind of scary because if they're going to let him play that rough for the rest of the series, someone might come away really injured. But whatever. I mean, I don't know. I don't want to go down that rabbit hole of conspiracy theory of, well, they're only trying to protect the next golden boy, so they're not gonna call that on him. But I feel like if it was someone else in a regular season game, it would come even with probably a fine, something like that.
Did what happened? Did the NBA mess this up clear back in the conference semifinals?
What, by not suspending him another game or a half or something?
When he threw that elbow at Naz Reid. Was that kind of the okay in Wemby's mind that, okay, if I'm not going to get it suspended for that. Now, yeah, he got kicked out of the game with a flagrant 2, and a lot of people at the time, me kind of included, was like, well, that sort of was a suspension because it happened early in the first half.
Yeah.
I think it was just like a minute into the second quarter. So basically he served a half-game suspension.
Right. And that's why I kind of thought they're going to go look at it and give him has it ever been done to say you're suspended a half?
No. I mean, we all remember Draymond getting suspended back in 2016 for continually kicking Steven Adams in the wrong spot, and even into the NBA Finals, where he took another suspension because of the amount of technical fouls that were picked up, and that was sort of the catalyst at the end of Game 4 when Golden State took the 3-1 lead. Draymond acts a fool, can't play in Game 5, and that turned the whole thing. All of a sudden, Cleveland wins at Golden State Game 5, go home and crush them in Game 6, and then we all remember what happened in Game 7 with the crazy chase down block by LeBron, Irving making the 3, and bammo. We have a 3-1 comeback by Cleveland. There's a misconception out there. A lot of people online were like, oh, they're never going to give him a flagrant 1 on this deal because that would force a suspension. He's only got you got to get 4 flagrant foul points. He has 2 because of what he did to Naz Reid. So a flagrant 1 would have just given him 3. Honestly, that play wasn't even the one, and this went totally unnoticed by almost everyone. That's not even the one they should have looked at. And it was another play that wasn't even called a foul. But in Game 3, when Brunson was called for the flagrant 1 on that closeout on Champagne's 3, where he turned his back and Champagne's foot landed on the back of Brunson's heel when he came down, that exact same thing happened in the corner with Wemby when Josh Hart made a 3 over him, and the same thing happened, and it went completely unnoticed. And that's one of those, it's like there's no gray area. on those closeouts. It was the same play.
Right.
And nobody even noticed that one. And so, that I think when you go back and he doesn't get suspended for the elbow, that gives him a little bit of a license to make him feel almost invincible with this stuff.
I think that also, kind of in his defense, is that this is a dude that is such an anomaly where even if he was like 4 inches shorter, it's more of a body frame where, yes, that is definitely a foul. But because of his wingspan and how tall he is, it's kind of like, well, how do we call a foul on this guy? It's not his fault. His elbows are up to the dude's temple at time, where it would be in someone's chest in a regular situation. Or, he's trying just to push him off. Well, it looks like the reason he pushed him off is because he's shorter than him, and it looked like he pushed his head and threw him down when those push-offs happen every day in the league. In every game. So I think that's what the NBA and the officiating is still trying to figure out. Like, well, kind of like thinking it like that is like, well, if he was a normal-sized NBA player, that's a push to the chest, not a push to the head.
Maybe.
That's an elbow to the chest, not an elbow to the temple.
But I think
we got to have a little leniency for him.
I think it's super easy, though, for fans of anybody outside of San Antonio to look at what has happened numerous occasions throughout these playoff runs and go,
there are things
and go, wait a minute.
Yeah, there are things
anybody else would have gotten in trouble for 100%. This. And it's not, Draymond eventually started getting in trouble for it because he was such a repeat offender in a lot of this stuff. Well, if you don't punish Wemby, then he's never going to be a repeat offender, even though he's doing a lot of the sort of the same things over and over that ought to be deemed, most people believe, flagrant ones. I
will say this as a warning to Wemby, when we talk about how to defend him and how teams are going to start with acquiring people, drafting certain people for their personnel packages to how to defend him. As a warning, that might turn into kind of like hockey. Okay, go get a goon. Let's just go to get a guy to beat the crap out of him.
Right.
And he'll foul out, whatever. He'll get his flagrants. He'll have to serve suspensions, but that's why we got him, is to beat the crap out of this guy and send a message to him like, we're tired of you doing it to us. We're going to do it to you. Well, I'm not suggesting that's what the league should do, or that's what other opposing teams should do. But there might be someone go, okay, well, they've tried it, they've tried that, they've tried this. Let's try that. Kind of like the bad boy era of basketball. It could be coming back just to combat Wemby.
Well, in San Antonio as a whole, I mean, this is now the second straight series that you've seen them play an old school physical style, and especially on the star players. And to the Thunder's dismay, or not to their credit for sure, but they looked soft when you let Carter Bryant run over SGA twice and nobody does a damn thing about it. And then the Knicks, I mean, Charles Oakley and Anthony Mason and John Starks and all those guys were in the building the other night. They had to be just chomping at the bit for somebody to retaliate and do something. And here's the crazy part of it. If Brunson would have retaliated after that happened, I guarantee you he gets a snap technical foul called on him. And then when they go back and review this, it might have actually worked in the Knicks' favor. Oh, well, the reason he got a tech is because he threw him down by the face. I mean, the Knicks got punked. Oklahoma City got punked by San Antonio.
Brunson, did you notice he tried
he was like,
he don't call for, like, come on, I'm going to set this a hard screen.
And then he kind of didn't.
He tried, but I think Wemby knew that screen was coming.
Oh, sure. And, you've got 7'6" verer's 6'2".
Yeah.
What do you headbutt him in the jewels?
Again, a goon. But I don't know if that.
But it's crazy to watch. I mean, because I don't know, it hasn't been this way for a long time. But when you think of New York Knicks, you do think of like Oakley and Mason, and on a game-to-game basis, whether they're playing Indiana or they're playing the Bulls or maybe even the end of the bad boy Pistons, the Miami Heat for sure at times. There was going to be fights for stuff like that. Mm-hmm. And I think it shows a little bit how the league has changed. The players themselves have changed. Part of it probably has to do with how much money they're making and not wanting to lose some of that by either getting suspended or paying a big old fine. But to this point in these playoffs, San Antonio in certain games has been the aggressor and quite frankly, some dirty plays, and no one's done anything about it. And that's a huge advantage for them to kind of have that confidence of, well, if they're not going to do anything about it, we'll just continue to punk them.
Right.
Yeah, there's no Bill Lambier, and there's darn sure no Rodman. There's no Rick Mahorn, even to run our tests like on the text line. But if you're, I said it before Game 7. Why do you have Lou Dort if it's not to retaliate? And it never happened. I don't know who that similar guy is on the Knicks, a player that you don't mind getting kicked out of the game. You're not trying to hurt him, but you're darn sure trying to prove a point.
You're trying to send a message. You're trying to say, we're not going to get punked like that. We're not going to get pushed around. You do that to us, we're going to retaliate. And that's what I'm trying to say is, like, it's not just in these NBA finals, but somebody is going to take the initiative when playing Wemby, and they're not going to go, oh, well, this is for the Knicks. And they're going to, okay, he just did that to our boy. Hey, Joe, from at the end of the bench, we got you for the league minimum. Go in there, set a hard screen, put him on his rear.
But somebody's got to have the cojones to go do it.
That's what I'm saying.
And the Thunder haven't, and so far the Knicks haven't either.
Not yet.
Not yet.
But my warning to Wemby is if he continued to do it, somebody's going to do it to you, and you're not going to like the results.
What changed in Game 3 that allowed the Spurs, and even from halftime? Because, gosh, if the second quarter would have been 2 more minutes longer with the run that the Knicks were on at the end of the first half, who knows if they don't put that game away.
Yeah, it's one of those situations you hated to see a half end.
Exactly.
If you were a Knicks fan, we've seen a lot of those.
So what changed? The game started differently, obviously, with Wemby getting in the paint.
So that's where I was going.
Yeah.
Was utilizing him to his assets, his better production is down low. When he's getting 32, I've said it over and over and over and over again. You're holding Wemby to his season average. Good teams like the Thunder or the Knicks, you hold him to his season average, his measly 20-something points and 12, 6, 18 rebounds, something like that. You can beat this team, but if he's getting 30+, and that's really all he had to do on Monday night, they're hard to beat. I think that's what changed is you got him more involved down low.
I also think the Knicks got away from what has made them so great in these playoffs and what the concern was in the regular season going into the playoffs. They got away from Karl Anthony Towns kind of being the man. And part of that was Mitch Johnson switched Wemby off of him, put him on Josh Hart in the corner, which also allowed him to be a roamer. Something that happened in Game 3, especially in the second half, that maybe didn't happen in the first 2 games. It's because of Towns' ability to stretch Wemby out. The Knicks got a bunch of stuff in the paint that wasn't there, especially in the second half of Game 3. And then that allowed, that it's no reason to gripe about it anymore. The officiating on both sides is going to let guys grab and clutch and claw on the perimeter, away from the ball. That's happening. That's not changing. Otherwise, nobody will be left to play because that style has been – the precedent has been set to play that style over the first 3 games, just like it was we all saw what happened to SGA away from the ball constantly and what's happening to Wemby constantly and Cat and whoever else. You're not – the freedom of movement is not being allowed away from the basketball. And I think that super favors San Antonio. If they'll come out, it's obvious to me watching them closely for the you watch them in the regular season, it's a totally different game. But watching them now very, very closely for about 15 games, going back to the Wolves and then the Thunder and now these first 3 games, when they decide that they're going to come out and set that tone physically, especially on the defensive end, and then Wemby decides he wants to be near the goal to start games, they're damn hard to beat. When Wemby wants to be a guard, if he makes threes, yeah, you're probably going to lose. We saw that in Game 1 of the Thunder series. If he's knocking down threes, well, what do you do? But he's a lot less likely to dominate from 28 feet than he is from 4. And that's – I know you can do certain things to push him away from the basket offensively, but I think it's almost like a mindset for him. And I think it filters down through the team. When he says, no one's keeping me away from grabbing this alley-oop 11.5 feet off the ground and dunking it, okay, big guy's here to play. The big fella is ready to roll. And I think that filters down through their team. And next thing you know, instead of 3 or 4 guys in double figures, they end up with 6, 7, or 8. And that's the thing that they've been so good at all year long is, yeah, you've got – Wemby has the potential every single game to explode and be dominant and whatever. But the secret sauce, I think, is when Keldon Johnson gives you 12, Harper gives you 15, Castle gives you 15, Vassell hits a couple of shots, Champagny gets going from 3. Then it's a pick your poison. When it's just kind of Wemby being a guard, he's not. The rest of the team isn't nearly as effective, and I think we saw that same thing on the other side. And he would never admit this, but Jalen Brunson has got to. I mean, he's taken like 17 more shots than anybody in the finals so far in 3 games on either team. And I think he sort of got caught up in the hoopla, got caught up in the, whether it's to be the MVP or to be the man in New York that's going to bring the top, you know what I'm saying?
Right.
Being the man.
Yeah.
He got to where he was shouldering too much of that load. And what did we see in the second half of Game 3 that we hadn't seen much in these playoffs? Him dribbling the basketball the entire possession and having to force, and that happened over and over and over in that second half, right, to the tune that the Knicks only scored like 44 points in that second half, 20 in the fourth quarter, and that allowed the Spurs to be able to kind of put him on lock. And Anunoby he was on fire early. Josh Hart hit some threes early, but they weren't continually involved in the game the way they have been in that 13-game winning streak. And Cat, quite frankly, is going to have to be more aggressive. That has to change. He needs to be – I mean, here's the thing. For me, if the Knicks are going to pull this off, Karl Anthony Towns has to be the MVP of the series, not Jalen Brunson, because I don't think Jalen Brunson can be, because the Spurs could just throw too many dudes at him. It's got to be Cat initiating, and he's going to have to figure that out. I mean, this isn't reinventing the wheel by Mitch Johnson. We know that they've thrown little guys at Cat just like the Thunder throw at Jokic or whoever. This is not a new thing, but he's got to be more aggressive getting down in the paint as opposed to floating. It's weird because they're fairly similar guys. Mm-hmm. They have that ability to do both. And when things don't go good, a lot of times it's being passive and settling. And for Cat the other night, it was just flat out really didn't even really look engaged a lot of the time on the offensive end. But that goes back to Brunson just dribbling and dribbling and dribbling and dribbling and dribbling. And that's the Knicks' fatal flaw. And that's going to be something that Brunson himself is going to have to realize watching the film and going, oh, my gosh, I can't do that again.
Yeah.
Or we're not going to win. What's the chances that whoever wins tonight wins the series?
I'll say if Spurs win, it's about a 50% chance. If the Knicks win, it's 93% chance. Let's throw a random number.
So I think it's about
better chance for the Spurs.
Yeah, 80 for both.
What's weird about this series is not a home team has won. So let's say the Spurs win. Well, the Knicks are going to go, no big deal. We can win in San Antonio. We did it twice before. So there's a little bit more confidence there going back to San Antonio.
Yeah, which is weird because the Spurs will have the same thing in Game 6.
Yeah,
This is pretty crazy.
It's a weird series.
It hasn't happened since 1993. And that year, the Bulls won Game 4, but then lost Game 5 at home because that was back when it was 2-3-2. Then, of course, went to Phoenix, and John Paxson hit that shot, and the third championship in a row was the Bulls won. I just think this game, whoever wins tonight wins this series.
You're going there.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. Well, that's easy to say if it's the Knicks. The Spurs, if they even it up going home, they got to feel good about that. To try to get Game 5.
I just can't shake the feeling that the Spurs team has done things all throughout this playoff run that are really not comparable to anything we've seen. I mean, the 77 Blazers were the youngest team ever to win the title. This is the second youngest to make the finals. Coming back from down 3-2, winning on the defending champs' home floor in Game 7 like they did in Oklahoma City. And I think it would just be kind of another notch in their belt to be the first one to lose the first 2 games at home and figure out a way to win. Mm-hmm. I think my Spurs in 6 is looking good. I'm afraid they're going to reel off 4 in a row, and we're going to go, how in the world did they not sweep them?
That would be gut-wrenching for a Knicks fan. To get the first 2, but not only get the first 2, but to do it in San Antonio and then lose
and
the
guess
series.
What? It would be just on brand for the Knicks.
Yes, it would. Poor Al.
I think Spurs win tonight.
You got him winning tonight.
Yep.
I've been wrong about this series the entire time, so I'll say it like this. I think the Spurs win too.
I see what you did there. We'll be back to wrap up a Lipscomb Dealerships Wednesday.
Gary Ware here, formerly with Ware Chevrolet in Wheeler, Texas. You know, every now and then you get an opportunity to save some real money. Our friends at Lipscomb Chrysler Dodge Jeep Ram in Elk City, Oklahoma just got hit with a hailstorm. That means an opportunity for you to save thousands. They've got a great selection of new vehicles with slide hail dents, price to move, big savings without sacrificing performance or reliability. If you're thinking about upgrading, this is your window. Stop by Lipscomb Chrysler Dodge Jeep Ram in Elk City, Oklahoma, or check them out on lipscombcdjr.com. Locally owned, family owned since 1979.
The Skinny on Sports.
Welcome back. Skinny on Sports, wrapping up a Lipscomb Dealership Wednesday. Appreciate the folks out at Lipscomb. Bobby and Keaton, Rusty over in Sayre. Employee pricing at Sayre right now in the Ford store. Hail sales right here in Elk City. Also, speaking of hail, G&E Elite Exteriors. Whether it's your home, a business, or a middle-of-the-night roofing emergency, G&E Elite Exteriors has you covered. You need a free inspection, a full roof replacement, or help with an insurance claim. They're fully licensed, insured, ready to go 24/7. Call Adrian Jackson at G&E Elite Exteriors, 405-549-5854. Visit GEEliteexteriors.com. We don't have. We're going to start the show tomorrow with your Sorsby thoughts and everything that's been coming out from Tech and the way that they've sort of handled this and how, if this needs to be fixed. And I think it's very rare you see the entire college football loving world on the same side of an issue. And it sure feels like everybody outside of the Red Raider Nation feels the same way about this. Let's start the show with that tomorrow. Give you more time.
Just quick side note on that.
Yeah.
I think it's more, when you say it like that, I think it's more than just a Sorsby thing. Yeah. I just quick thought. I think a lot of people are maybe a little jealousy involved too. Tired of seeing every time somebody goes in a portal, they think, well, Texas is going to go buy them.
Yeah, I think that.
And I think a lot of that is kind of boiling over too.
Yeah, put those two things together. I think you're 100% right. Last night, Game 4 Stanley Cup Finals. Excuse me. Carolina tied it up 2-2 with the 5-3 win. First game in the series that wasn't a one-goal game. And that's because of an empty netter of 40 seconds left or something like that. This has been like a record-breaking series in a lot of ways. This is the first time in Stanley Cup Finals history that both teams have put 3 or more goals in the net in each of the first 4 games. Carter Hart, who is the goalkeeper for the Las Vegas Golden Knights, has become the first goalkeeper in Stanley Cup Finals history to allow 4+ goals in each of the 4 games. The teams have combined for 33 goals in the first 4 games, tied for third all time in the first 4 games with the 1980 series between the Islanders and the Flyers, only eclipsed by 36 goals twice. 1981, Islanders and North Stars. In 1918, got any guess who was the teams there?
I don't know. The Montreal Fish Hunters and the Vancouver Ice Chuckers. I don't know.
The Arenas versus the Millionaires. I don't even know where they're from.
Wow.
I just saw Arenas and Millionaires. Turns out they're not teams anymore.
I wouldn't think so.
But what we're trying to tell you, and we've implored this for years, watch it. It's one of the most fascinating, thrilling, exciting, nerve-wracking, all those adjectives you could say, sporting events that there is. And now it's 2-2 going back to Carolina tomorrow night for Game 5. And it's been completely different. We talked about it earlier. You know, a lot of times these games are 1-0, 2-1. These have all been, 4-3, 5-4, 5-4, 5-3. Exciting down to the very end. I wasn't so sure last night, even when the empty netter went in, I thought, well, Vegas is liable to score again, and the tension comes right back with 20 seconds left.
Yeah.
And I think the cool thing about this for me is a lot of times when somebody does take like a 2-goal lead, the game is essentially over. And that hasn't been the case at all in this Stanley Cup Finals. There's been comebacks every single game. Where even last night, Vegas was down 2 goals, tied it, and then Jordan Stahl with a diving flip. Both players, him and the goalie, dove, and he flipped it right over his glove for the eventual game winner with like 6 minutes left. And the further along it goes, the closer to the end it gets, the more tension builds.
Which is awesome.
Oh, this feels like it's destined for 7 games.
Yes.
And it almost feels like it's destined for a Game 7 overtimer.
Which, like, Game 7s gets everybody's attention. Baseball, basketball. But in this case, Stanley Cup Finals Game 7, it is, I think, way the best. Way better than an NBA Finals Game 7 or a Major League Baseball Game 7 World Series. I think this, because of everything you just said, the tension of it all.
There's only been 2 overtime Game 7s ever. 1950 and 1954. Detroit won both. Double overtime. Can you imagine a double overtime Game 7?
No.
That happened in 1950, and then 1954. Single overtime. And it's just the finality of it all is what's so interesting, is because they play for 60 minutes, then they drop the puck, and like literally at any point the series is over and they're shaking hands and hoisting the cup.
Yeah.
I'm hoping.
Me too.
Hoping against hope that we get a Game 7 first, and then following kind of the way this series has gone, a close one, and man, if it went to overtime, even if it's a 1-goal game like last night, even if it's Game 7, 2 minutes to go, the goalie comes out, 6-on-5, it's just thrilling to watch. Do yourself a favor. Sit down in front of the TV tomorrow night at 7 o'clock, ABC, and watch Game 5. Even if you don't understand anything about hockey, you will get involved in it. We saw that with what happened in the Nations Cup with Canada and the U.S.
Yes.
We saw it captured the American public watching it. And I get it. It was USA versus Canada.
And that too, and that's a thing. But also in the Olympics when it was U.S. It does. This is fun. It's just so much fun to watch. And I can't imagine being a fan of either because I'd be freaking out, right? My anxiety level would be through the roof. But just to be...
It's like overtime in the Georgia OU Rose Bowl. Oh. Except for it's not final like that. I mean, I guess it was at the end on the long touchdown run, but it doesn't have that the same feel where every single thing could be the end.
Yeah.
So watch it. It's been awesome. It's been very, very interesting. Anything else you got today?
Not that I can think of. I felt like I forgot something the other day, but I think we got it all covered.
We still got to we'll do our storylines for college football in the state of Oklahoma.
Oh, yeah. We got a summary to do that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That'll happen at some point.
Getting closer to College World Series.
That starts
which is fun to have interest
Friday.
in. I mean, it is fun to have interest in that.
Starts Friday for real, Saturday for Oklahoma. This is a pretty jam-packed week and a half of sports we got coming up. Stanley Cup, NBA Finals, the World Cup, College World Series, and then a week from tomorrow, the U.S. Open starts with local interest off the charts with Ryder Cowan.
Yeah, that's cool.
Playing in the U.S. Open.
That is cool.
We were visiting last night after the baseball game. Like, we all know what the Masters app does and the channels they have to watch. I wonder if because there's so many amateurs. I think there's like 13 amateurs.
Oh, wow.
In this year's U.S. Open.
There's a way to follow
11 or 13. Like, wish they had like an amateur channel.
Yeah.
That way you can kind of follow it.
Who's covering it this year?
It's normally NBC that has the U.S. Open. Dan Hicks and that group.
Don't press the button. Hold on. I'm looking. It's NBC and it's properties. USA.
Peacock.
Yeah.
Yeah, so probably a bunch of USA early coverage.
I mean,
I think I remember last year maybe they had early Peacock and then USA, or maybe early USA, then Peacock, then it went to NBC.
Gives you hope, like a streaming service. You have multiple options of viewing like featured groups and stuff like that. Maybe there is one for amateurs. I don't know.
That'd be cool.
Yep.
Everybody have a great Lipscomb Wednesday. We'll be back tomorrow. Skinny on Sports on the Sports End.
You've been listening to the Skinny on Sports podcast with Aaron Cow. Be sure to hit that subscribe button to get alerts of when the latest podcast is available. Thanks for listening.